History is often written in broad strokes. But the real stories? They are hidden in the margins. They are whispered in taverns and scrawled in fading ink on salt-stained pages. Welcome to Lantern and Logbook. Here, we illuminate the forgotten corners of the world. We don't just tell stories, we relive the voyages. From the desperate chases of the golden age of piracy to the silent mysteries of the Arctic ice, we are here to explore what lies between the lines of history. I am your narrator. The lantern is lit. The logbook is open. Pull up a chair. It's time to turn the page. End of voiceover text. The air in the Broken Anchor Tavern was thick with the smell of cheap rum and secrets. In the darkest corner, Captain Elara Vance stared at the parchment on the table. To anyone else, it looked like a stain. To her, it was the key to the impossible. Across from her sat Finn, her young deckhand. He watched her trace the strange, shifting ink lines. This was the Chronos Map. Legend said it didn't lead to gold, but to the Isle of Regret, a place that appeared only once every 10 years, under a blood moon. A place where you could change one mistake from your past. Elara touched the silver locket at her throat. Inside was a picture of her brother, Liam. He had died 5 years ago in a raid she commanded. That guilt was the anchor dragging her down. Tonight, she planned to cut it loose. "It's time," Elara whispered. But as she rolled up the map, a shadow fell over the table. Captain Ironjaw Thorn stood there. He was a giant of a man, captain of the dreaded Black Kraken. He didn't want redemption, he wanted power. And he knew Elara had the map. "Leaving so soon, Vance?" Thorn rumbled, his hand resting on his pistol. "I think that map belongs to me." Elara didn't hesitate. She kicked the table over, sending tankards flying, and shouted, "Run!" They burst out of the tavern into the humid night air of Tortuga, sprinting for the docks. Thorn's men were close behind, their boots thundering on the wooden planks. But Elara was faster. They leaped onto the deck of her ship, the Silent Osprey. "Cut the lines," she roared. "Drop the canvas." The Osprey was built for speed, not a fight. She surged away from the dock just as Thorn reached the water's edge. But Elara knew the chase wasn't over. As they hit the open water, the deep boom of cannon fire echoed behind them. The massive Black Kraken was pursuing, and it was hungry for blood. They raced into the open Caribbean, the wind screaming in the rigging. The Black Kraken was gaining. It was a floating fortress, its heavy guns flashing in the dark, sending plumes of water spraying over Elara's deck. Then, the sky changed. The clouds broke, revealing a moon the color of fresh blood. Elara slammed the map onto the binnacle. Under the red light, the ink came alive. Gears drawn on the paper began to turn. The coastline on the chart shifted, revealing a path that shouldn't exist. It pointed straight into the Devil's Teeth, a wall of razor-sharp reefs that no ship could survive. "Captain!" Finn yelled, pointing at the white foam ahead. "You'll kill us all." "Trust me," Elara said, her eyes fixed on the glowing map. She spun the wheel hard. The Silent Osprey heeled over, diving straight toward the rocks. Behind them, Thorn hesitated. He knew the reef was a death sentence. As Elara's ship approached the stone wall, the map projected a beam of blue light, illuminating a tiny, impossible gap in the rocks. The needle's eye. The ship shot through the channel. Rock walls scraped the hull, screeching like banshees, sparks flying. It was a matter of inches. But they burst through to the other side. Thorn tried to follow, but his ship was too big. He was forced to turn away, firing a final, furious broadside that missed by miles. Suddenly, the roar of the ocean vanished. The wind died. The Osprey glided into a silent, glass-like lagoon. Ahead of them, rising from the mist under the red moon, was the island. It was gray, silent, and terrifying. The Isle of Regret. Elara and Finn lowered a rowboat and headed for the gray beach. The silence of the island was heavy, pressing against their eardrums. There were no birds. No insects. Only the sound of their own breathing. "The map leads to the peak," Elara said. "To the cave." They climbed the ash-covered slope. As they entered the mouth of the cave, the silence broke. The walls began to whisper. The island defended itself with memories. Finn stopped, his eyes wide, staring at empty air. "Mother," he wept, falling to his knees. "I didn't mean to run away." Elara grabbed him. "It's an illusion, Finn. Keep moving." But then, the darkness came for her. The cave dissolved. Suddenly, she smelled smoke and gunpowder. She was back on the deck of her ship, 5 years ago. Fire was everywhere. And there he was. Liam. Her brother. Standing in the flames, looking at her with sad eyes. "You gave the order, Elara," the ghost whispered. "You were too impatient." Tears streamed down Elara's face. This was the moment. The mistake that defined her life. "I can save you," she choked out. "I'm here to fix it." She forced herself to walk through the phantom fire, dragging Finn with her. They stumbled into the inner chamber. There, in a basin of black stone, was the Chronos spring. It wasn't water, it was swirling liquid starlight. Elara took a golden goblet from her belt. One drink, and she would travel back. She could save Liam. She could be happy. She dipped the cup into the glowing pool. But as she raised it to her lips, a cold click of a pistol hammer echoed through the cavern. "Touching," a voice growled. "But I'll be taking that." Ironjaw Thorn stepped out of the shadows. He was battered, bleeding, and wet. He had rowed through the reef in a small boat, driven by pure greed. And now, he wanted the power of time for himself. Thorn leveled his pistol at Finn. "Give me the cup, Vance. I have a fleet to rebuild." Elara looked at the swirling liquid. In its reflection, she didn't see Liam. She saw herself as she was now, scarred, tough, a leader. She realized the terrible truth. If she went back and saved Liam, she would never become the captain who saved her crew tonight. She would undo every life she had saved in the last 5 years. Including Finn's. "You want to change the past, Thorn?" Elara asked softly. Give it to me, he roared. Take it, she said. But instead of handing it to him, she turned her hand over. The liquid starlight poured out onto the cold stone floor, sizzling as it evaporated. No! Thorn screamed. Blinded by rage and greed, he lunged past her. He threw himself at the basin, cupping his hands to drink directly from the source before it faded. He gulped down the raw magic. But the spring was not meant to be taken by force. Thorn didn't vanish into the past. The past overwhelmed him. He froze, his eyes burning with blue fire. He screamed as his body began to dissolve into mist, scattering into 1,000 lost memories. He was gone. The cavern began to shake. The magic was broken. The island was collapsing. Run! Elara shouted. They sprinted back through the tunnel as rocks crashed down around them. They burst out onto the beach and scrambled into the boat, rowing desperately as the shoreline crumbled into the sea behind them. They reached the Silent Osprey just as the Isle of Regret sank beneath the waves. The red moon faded to white. The ocean was calm again, as if nothing had happened. Later, on the quiet deck, Elara stood by the rail. The map lay on the table, the ink fading, the magic gone. Finn handed her a mug of rum. You could have done it, Captain, he said gently. You could have saved him. Elara touched her locket. I know. But we aren't defined by the storms we avoid, Finn. We are defined by the ones we survive. Liam is my past. But this crew, you, are my now. She picked up the blank parchment and let the wind carry it out over the dark water. She didn't need it anymore. Set a course for Tortuga, Mr. Finn, Captain Vance said, turning her back on the sea. We have a story to tell,